Well, Kelly's Court is back in session. On the docket today, keeping sex offenders away from children. In California, sex predators are supposed to live at least 2,000 feet away from schools and parks. But many have not complied with those rules, so the state has started sending some of them to prison. Well, now the California Supreme Court has intervened, temporarily blocking California from arresting 4 sex offenders who went to court and sued over this. So, who's got the better end of this argument? And can this law, which California voters approved, be enforced? Joining us now to discuss it is Fox News legal analyst Lise Wheel and defense attorney David Schwartz. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, Lise, let me start with you. The voters approved this. The voters said you commit a sex offense not more than 2,000 feet from a park or a school. Should the California court have reversed the voters on this?
Absolutely not. Megan, the California voters approved this by 70%. I mean, it was an overwhelming majority, and it's a very reasonable law. It just says, look, you can't, if you're a registered sex offender, I'm sorry, we have some reasonable conditions here for your parole. If you are caught drunk driving and go to prison, you have to go through alcohol testing. If you're caught with drugs, you have to go through drug testing. If you're a registered sex offender, you shouldn't be living, not just passing by, living near parks and schools. This is crazy that the Supreme Court would intervene on the people's will of California.
Yeah, David, a lot of people are going to look at this as yet another liberal ruling out of a California court. What do you think?
The problem is the voters don't understand the legalities of the issue and the enforcement issues of this issue. The problem is we have 600,000 registered sex offenders in this country. Only about 10% of them are really dangerous. We have watered down this sex offender statute so much that you can't even believe some of the crimes that are covered under the sex offender statute. These particular crimes were not crimes against children. These 4 people did not commit crimes against children. So what does it have to do with living near a school or not near a school? It's ridiculous. In fact, one of the kids was 16 at the time he committed the crime.
Okay,
and there is nowhere for them to live.
Let me give Lisa a chance to respond.
Excuse me, 16 at the time that he committed a brutal rape. I mean, you don't want these. It's a reasonable accommodation, a reasonable condition to say when you are proven to be a rapist and maybe a child molester in many of these cases, that you should not be near schools and parks. And I'm not saying even passing by. This is about living near schools and parks.
These 4 cases. Lise, these 4 cases that we have in front of us do not have to do with children. They are not child molesters, these people.
Rapists.
Okay?
They're rapists.
Well, we don't know the facts and circumstances of each case. No, we don't. One of them.
Let me interject. David, because that's true right now. The 4 who brought this case are not child molesters, but they're seeking to expand this ruling to apply to more than just them. The way they want the ruling to be, it would cover sex offenders.
Well, that's government at its finest. You know, let it just apply to everybody. Let it apply to somebody that was caught urinating on the street, and all of a sudden they're covered on the sex offender statute, which is true in some states.
Go ahead, Lise.
Yes, you are in some states.
Go ahead, Lise.
These are for brutal crimes. And the other argument that they made was, gee, we can't find housing other than within 2,000 square feet of the school or park. That's ridiculous. When you see an argument like that, that just blows all the credibility off the water.
David, I'll give you the last word.
The big problem here again is these sex offender statutes are way too overbroad. There are some crimes where you wouldn't believe they're covered under sex offender. Only 10% of these people, and that's proven, are really dangerous. That's the problem, Lise.
Got to leave it at that because we are out of time. Lise Wheel and David Schwartz, thanks so much for being here with us.